Hey, it's Lori Lewis, the director, with another episode of the Before the Big Day podcast, YouTube edition. Before we get into today's episode, I'd like to remind you, please subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on so you know when a new episode is available. Also, give me a thumbs up so I know you got some really good wedding planning nuggets from this episode. This podcast is for all of you who are wedding planning, who are trying to avoid going into debt for your big day. And you need the advice from those who have firsthand knowledge and experience, those wedding industry professionals from across the country, and those real life couples who have been through what you're experiencing and want to share their testimonies. So, without further ado, enjoy this episode. And I'll see you soon. Hey, it's Lori Lewis, the director, and I'm back with another episode of the Before the Big Day podcast. As you can see, it's just me this time. I thought it was time that I came on and explained a few things about the podcast and then share with you some things that I'm planning to share in upcoming episodes. So stay tuned. All right, so I've been busy doing weddings. May was busy, June has been busy, July was my birthday month, and had planned to launch the podcast actually on my birthday. But as we know, things go awry and wasn't able to do it. But listen, there's been some things that I've learned that I wanted to share. But let me just first just reiterate why I started the Before the Big Day podcast. I'm an educator. I've been an educator as long as I've been a wedding coordinator, 23 years, going on my 24th year. And there are just some things that I've learned along the way that I felt compelled to be able to share and educate, especially for those of you that are on the wedding planning journey. So I created this podcast as another platform and a resource for those who are wedding planning. As you've seen in past episodes, I've invited wedding industry professionals on who have shared their best advice. They've shared budget savings tips. I've also had couples on here who have shared their own wedding planning journey just to share with you so you don't go through or make the mistakes or learn from their experience how to have the best day that you've been dreaming of, that you've envisioned. And so that's been the objective of the podcast. So, in this episode, I'd really want to share with you just some things that I've just learned and I've witnessed. Again, to provide you with some wedding planning advice so you can have the big day that you've been planning and envisioning. First, ladies, gentlemen, when you're planning for your big day, you want to hire professionals. And this is no shade to anyone's family member, but just like you go to a professional doctor, a professional dentist, a professional hairstylist, you want to hire a professional that knows what he or she is doing and that they're respectful of your time. When you go get away from hiring an actual professional, then you leave some room for things to go awry during the day, right? So you really want to hire a professional. I love the fact that we have family members that want to cook, that want to decorate, that want to do things for you as their wedding gift to you. However, part of the issue that comes up is because they are your friend or your family member, they want to also enjoy your big day. So there's a little conflict of interest, if you will, because they're so busy planning and decorating for your big day when they actually want to be a wedding guest. So there's a little conflict in the fact that they've got to do some things prior to the wedding that might carry over and cause them to actually miss the actual celebration. So consider that point, right? If they're going to do it, so if they're just adamant that they can do it, that they can do it for cheaper than what a professional can, then there needs to be an established contract. I would suggest you do a contract with that family member and you set some specific guidelines, right? It's got to be understood that he or she will miss the ceremony because as they're setting up, things happen, supplies have to be purchased, they have to go back and get more material, whatever, things do happen. My next tip is for your hair and makeup appointment, ladies, make sure you have that trial session, if not more than one session before the big day. You don't want to be trying to get ready on the wedding day and you're trying to fix your hair because it's not exactly what you expected. You want to have those trial appointments. makeup included before the big day. There's nothing worse than looking in the mirror after your makeup artist or hairstylist has done your hair and makeup and you don't like what you see. So, of course, there's Pinterest boards. There's all kind of images that you can save to your phone or to your computers from social media in order to have an idea of what it is that you want. There's some great professionals out there that can give you exactly what you want based on your pictures, your inspiration boards. So if you need any of those recommendations, you can always go back to previous episodes. I've interviewed some of the best in the metropolitan Detroit area and some of the best throughout the country. You know, this is my favorite advice. Do you need a planner or a coordinator? So there is somewhat of a difference. Folks use them synonymously, and that's fine. But just think of it like this. If you don't want to do all the planning yourself, like choosing a venue, choosing vendors, working with your budget, then you probably would need a planner. Now, understand you have planners that offer full planning, and then you have planners that offer partial planning. So if you're still a DIY person, but you just need some help along the way, hand holding along the way, then you need a planner. But understand that planner will become your day of coordinator, right? Because what planner wants to help you plan along the way, but then doesn't want to see it all the way through fruition? Now, if you are a client who, like most of my clients as the director, they come to me and they're like, Lori, I have everything planned. I just need someone to execute everything on the big day. That's more like a day of coordinator, but understand a day of coordinator is going to start well enough in advance so they know all of the details and intricate accommodations, if you will, in order to execute your wedding day vision, right? So planner or coordinator, what is it that you need? Don't go off of anyone's advice like, oh, you don't need it, we can do it ourselves. Again, just like I said in number one, you need a professional who knows what he or she is doing in this industry. And they can connect you with some of the best in the industry, and not only the best, but the best ones that are going to fit your budget. And so I'm going to finish this episode with one other advice, which seems to be a topic that has come up a lot recently, and that is choosing your bridal party attendants. Notice I say attendants and not bridesmaids or groomsmen. Attendants was the traditional name from the original Emily Post wedding etiquette. When you choose attendance, the root word, I'm an English teacher, so excuse me for this, but attendance, the root word is attend, right? So they're attending to you and your fiance's every need from the time you've asked them to be a part of your bridal party throughout the day. And so there are some expectations and boundaries that need to be established at the very beginning. How much is this going to cost them? How much time do they need to devote? Do they need to pay for which items do they need to pay for, right? So when you accept, so this is for bridal party attendants and for brides and grooms. When you ask individuals to be a part of your wedding, and when you accept to playing a role in someone's wedding, there are certain expectations that are required, right? And so it's an honor to be asked, but it's more respectful if you know you're not going to be able to afford the amount of money that you have to invest, then you should politely just say, no, I'd rather just invest in getting you a gift and attend as a guest, because you know it's just not part of your personal budget. And so lately I've been getting a lot of individuals who are talking about, whether in a Facebook group or on social media, about how their bridal party attendants aren't cooperating. And that's just unbelievable. All right. Because you're supposed to be part of the well wishes for this couple to enter into this union. And if you're given a more conflict where they should be concentrating on just becoming one and celebrating their love and coming together, I just don't understand the concept of bridal party attendants not cooperating with the bride and groom. So brides and grooms, really think about who you're asking to share the day with you. Those of you who are being asked, really think about, are you ready to accept the responsibility and the financial responsibility as well that comes along with being a part of a bridal party? So just wanted to throw out those couple reminders about wedding planning. So I don't really like doing narrative episodes, but I felt that before we start this next segment, if you will, of the Before the Big Day podcast, I just wanted to share that, and I hope it helps someone. I am looking so forward to the upcoming episodes of the podcast. I've got some amazing guests and some amazing topics. And I'll just share with you one of the topics I'm looking to share is choosing men's attire for the wedding, right? It's his day too. And I haven't spent a lot of time talking about how men go about choosing their attire. And you'll notice you've seen them out on Pinterest and on social media that a lot of men are going for these customized jackets, right, for the big day, or customized suits, or some men are just going for renting tuxedos. So, how does one go about just making that decision? That's a topic on a future episode. I'm excited to be interviewing also a world renowned bridal designer who's coming on the podcast. And I'm also looking forward to discussing weddings for the LGBT community. So, I am excited to share with you more advice. There's so much going on with the wedding industry right now. I'm excited that at least in Michigan and in most states, we're all reopening. It looks like we're finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel to this pandemic. I'm excited for all of my couples who are getting married in the next few months from July through November. So shout out to the director couples. And as always, would you do me a favor and just like this video, comment below, especially on some of the advice that I just gave, right? Hiring professionals, making sure you've got the right bridal party attendance, making sure that you have a planner or coordinator. That's not an option. You need a planner or coordinator. Again, hire professionals, love family members, love close friends, but it's really professionals that you want to hire for your big day. I am just thrilled about being back on the podcast. I'm slowly inching to the 100th episode of the Before the Big Day podcast. So be looking for that save the date. I'm going to do something pretty special. And I love hearing from you. What topics do you want me to share on the Before the Big Day podcast? And again, it's not coming from me. It's going to come from my guests that I'll be interviewing. So thank you as always for your support. The YouTube channel is here. If you haven't already subscribed, please do that. I'd love to hear your comments on social media. You can follow me at The Direct Her. So Before the Big Day podcast was merged with The Direct Her for just one account. So any podcast issues or comments, please make sure to post those. Facebook at The Direct Her. Instagram at The Direct Her. And then you can also go to the website, beforethebigday.co. And until next time, be well.